Breaking news out of the US, President Donald Trump has just made a major health announcement linking autism to paracetamol use. For more, we are joined by Today medical expert Dr Nick Coatsworth live from Canberra. Doc, look, there's a lot to digest here and it's obviously all still breaking out of the US, but there seems to be very little detail to match this announcement by the President so far. What is he suggesting here? Is there any medical grounding to this conclusion?
Sarah, this is literally breaking. The press conference is still actually happening there in the United States. And I can tell you that there's been two major announcements. The first one, and the most important, is that doctors around the United States will now receive a letter from the US FDA stating that acetaminophen, which we call paracetamol, may be associated with increased rates of autism. Now, we need to break that down, Sarah, on the show today so we don't alarm pregnant women in Australia.
Yeah.
The other major announcement, $50 million towards research into autism. We can expect that, given RFK Jr.'s position, to include studies, prospective studies, on the effects of vaccination on autism, despite the overwhelming evidence that we have that autism is not connected to childhood vaccinations.
Yeah, let's break that down because there will be a lot of parents and families out there who are probably alarmed by this and who want to know more. So as you mentioned there, the President's gone so far as to tell pregnant women not to take paracetamol. I mean, mothers all over the world have taken paracetamol for pain management for all kinds of ailments, right? So not every single child has been diagnosed with autism off the back of that. So where is the link that he's trying to produce here?
So the important thing to note is that we rate paracetamol as category A, safe for pregnancy. However, this is not the first time this link has been raised. President Trump and his health advisors are not the first people to do this. Acetaminophen, paracetamol, is a chemical, and when there's a widespread chemical used in pregnancy, then it is worthy of study. So we need to say that straight up. This is a subject worthy of study. Now, Marty Makary, who's one of the President's health supremos, has cited some major birth cohort studies. These are not crank studies, these are major birth cohort studies that have found small increases in risk in autism for people who consume paracetamol during pregnancy. I don't think this is the odd Panadol tablet, Sarah. I think that's completely safe in pregnancy, but certainly I think this is worthy of ongoing study, and we are going to, the entire medical community around the world is going to have to react to this today. I want to reassure pregnant women, but I also want to tell you that this isn't crank science. This has been looked at before, and there are some studies which show a small risk association and many studies that do not. So we need to keep this as an open question. We also need to continue to treat pain and fever in pregnancy, and parents that paracetamol remains the safest drug to do that.
Yeah, and that's a good point to make as well. So the President, Robert F. Kennedy, they've referenced a so-called increase in autism here, 400% since 2000. But how much of that awareness does it come down, rather, to awareness and better diagnosis of the condition that's led to those increasing numbers?
Look, certainly awareness and better diagnosis is part of it. Let's put aside the paracetamol question for a moment because, you know, when you tear the layers off RFK Jr. and Trump and some of their health announcements, all they are doing at the moment with regard to the research funding is saying that they're putting research funding, $50 million towards this. They've looked at the studies, they've peer-reviewed the applications apparently, and so we're going to have new studies about the rise in autism. And broadly, that is a good thing. And I don't think we can say anything more than the press conference has said about that at the moment. So there's going to be more funding into a problem that does exist, particularly in the Western world, when there has been objective, I think, Sarah, it's not just criteria-based, there's been objective increases in childhood neurodevelopmental issues. And we do need to research them as much as possible. More funding is a good thing.
Just very quickly, we all want answers to this. For the parents out there who are affected by, they have a diagnosis of autism in their families, what would your advice be to them today?
Do not go back and look at the things that you consume during pregnancy. That's not your issue at the moment. These studies will be ongoing, and for pregnant women out there who are suffering from pain today, paracetamol remains the drug of choice in pregnancy.
All right, Doc, as always, thanks so much for your time.